starting to think I'm the best player of all time. Boom. Boom. Wait.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be covering, and honestly I haven't spent as much time on Wattson recently, but Ross has, and so we're going to discuss what are the best perks for Wattson. We have Ross joining us, so welcome Ross, great to have you today.
Yo, what's up everybody?
All right, let's get into this. So I'm going to ask you, Ross, what are the best perks for both casual and pro play whenever you're looking at the tier 1 perks? What are your thoughts?
Going to the blue armor, I guess a tier 1 upgrade?
Yeah, tier 1 upgrade.
If you're a casual, you're playing to have more fun, right?
Yeah.
And you're gonna have way more fun if you use her renewable energy upgrade, which is gonna be where her pylon, basically every single ordnance that it catches, it turns into arc stars and it just spawns at your feet. You're gonna have so much fun, especially if you find your way in like an end game and everyone's just like nade spamming. You're about to be in heaven because you're just gonna have so many arc stars and you're just gonna have so much fun. Just like you can bring out your inner fuse main while you're playing Wattson. It's like a 2-in-1. It's like really fun. If you're more on the competitive side, it's kind of a no-brainer that you're going to do the one where you can revive your allies to 50 HP because like that's just like, you need that, you know, like resetting in fights is so important, and that extra 25 HP can sometimes make the difference. And then if you pair that with a gold bag, it's OP. Okay, not gold bag, gold knockdown, sorry, you know, I'm an old head, I can't change my ways, but but yeah, without a doubt, if you're playing competitively, the revive allies to 50 HP is definitely going to be what you want to do.
Do you think pros are also going to use more of the arc stars for grenades for endgame, or do you think they're going to stick more with the revive?
I think it's very situational depending on your comp that you're running, because obviously if you're running maybe a team that has another support legend that, you know, can play the role as more of like an anchor and like, you know, get those revives for you, then maybe you don't have to. Obviously if you play a team that's like, let's say you're playing Bang Bloodhound Wattson, I don't think you're ever going to do the Arcstar one, but maybe you are, but let's say you're playing some outdated comp and you have like a Newcastle, like there's no way you're ever doing the revive one at that point, because you know Newcastle's going to do all the resing anyways.
True. So
you're probably going to go with the Arcstar one instead.
So everyone, keep in mind your team composition and keep in mind what your end goal is when you're playing. So that's a really good tip. So for tier 2, the same question, what would you pick as for casuals and pro play? So kind of split those up. So tier 2 Wattson perks, let's go.
Okay, so this one is actually way more complex in my opinion in terms of like figuring out which one is better for what style of player, because these are both so good. I'm honestly surprised that more people don't play Wattson just for these perks alone. Real quick, I'll just, for those who maybe aren't familiar with her kit, one of them is called Power Pylon, and you can basically, you put down your ult and it's double the HP of the ult itself, and then also the original Wattson ult, I believe it charges you for 250 shield across the board. It doubles that, so that's one of them. And then the other one is called Full Coverage, and you can place 2 ults down at once, because you know, if normally when you're playing Wattson you put down one ult and you go to put down another one, it destroys that old one even if the charge is not fully used. It just goes away, right? But with that one you can put 2 ults down, and you can also pop ult excels twice as fast. So I'm kind of 50-50 on the approach, but I think for pros they might, it honestly might depend on the map. It might depend on the map, because there are some situations where late game maybe you're trying to set up a Wattson ult. Like I can think of so many end games where it ends around a little cable car or whatever you want to call them, right? Like just in the middle of the map, whether it's on like World's, actually especially on World's Edge, and you're trying to find like that perfect spot to put down the ult, and sometimes maybe the original spot you're trying to put it down, you put it down and immediately they just blow it up. So being able to pop ult excels twice as fast is obviously going to be real nice to, you know, get another one in there. And then also maybe that one is also good, the first one that you put it down, but you want to maybe cover like multiple angles in a room. Maybe you're covering a lot of space and the Wattson ult, the first one you put down, maybe doesn't cover all the room. It's kind of nice to be able to, you know, have like a mesh system. It's almost like mesh Wi-Fi, but instead it's for healing your shields. That's the best way that I could, like, yeah. I don't know. I like that a lot, but at the same time, the double HP on the ult alone, not even the shield capacity, but the double HP, a lot of people don't realize that if someone is trying to break your ultimate, a lot of times, obviously they're shooting at it because you can't throw nades at it. But if you're shooting at it, you're often exposing yourself or creating like an LOS between you and the little pylon. And for some teams, depending on the situation, if you expose yourself for too long, you're gonna get punished, right? Like if you're trying to light that thing up, someone's gonna turn around and just one clip you because like they're gonna see where you're shooting from. They're gonna be like, okay, well this guy is like overextended trying to break our ult, so let's go ahead and peek real quick and let's trade damage. They're doing damage to a pylon who, like in the grand scheme of things, like it's just a pylon, whereas you're full health and you're lighting them up. So I actually like that one too, but once again, it kind of just depends on like the map or maybe where you think the end game is going to be, because each one has positives, but also in some spots for each part of the map, one of them is definitely better than the other. I don't know. I kind of sound like I am all over the place right there, but it's really hard. Like, I feel like you can't go wrong, realistically. Me personally, I normally just do the double ult HP and capacity. I don't play comp Apex, so maybe I'm considered more of a casual.
Those are great tips. Honestly, across the board, I think it keeps it situational. You can always choose your perk a little later, depending on the zone and the building that you decide to hold. So I think those are really good tips. It makes me it makes me want to play Wattson, hearing the Wattson talk again. I've been on Vantage for a little too long at this point, and now I got to bring back the Wattson. So those are really good tips. Oh, I know, right? So now let's talk about the last tip, that departing tip, before we get into your game plan and review it. Because I'm excited to review it. I know you're not going to be there, so I'm going to roast you all the way through. So what would be your departing tip for all Wattson players? Like the biggest tip in season 20?
Okay, my biggest tip for all Wattson players. Okay, I have two.
Okay, hit me with both.
It doesn't have to necessarily do with the tier 2 perk, but you should always, if you have space, carry an ult excel. You don't realize, especially if you're playing pubs, because pubs recently have felt crazy. They feel like scrim lobbies. Having an extra ult excel can sometimes save you like crazy. Like, you don't know how many times popping an ult excel and being able to put down your ult in the middle of the fight has literally turned the tide for so many of my engagements. And it's something that a lot of people maybe don't think about, even though obviously it is, her passive ability. A lot of people, when they're playing pubs especially, they're just like, oh, I want to run and gun, I want to shoot at everything I see. But more often than not, you will find yourselves very happy that you carried an extra ult excel for that exact purpose. And then my other tip for people playing Wattson this season is don't be afraid to use your fences aggressively. I think I talked about this a little bit in another video I did with Daz. You see so many people playing Wattson and playing her more to, bunker down and set up for an end game. But there are a lot of times where if you're applying a lot of pressure to a team, if you do a lot of damage to somebody, or let's say you get like a knock and then a full thirst on someone, and you're like chasing a team across the map, like let's say like now we're in ranked. Eventually at some point this team is going to run. If you can run them into a corner and then fence off every single, escape option for them, they have to fight, right? And you already have the advantage. As a 2v3, you already killed one of their players. So don't be afraid to fence aggressively and not necessarily just play super passive throughout the whole match and just set up for endgame, because Wattson, her fences are very, very, very powerful, and I feel like not enough people are utilizing them to the fullest of their capabilities. So many players could do so much more than they actually think they're capable of if they just played Wattson like they were playing Octane, for example. Like, just have that ape everything mindset and think about, as you're playing, how you can incorporate your fences, how you can sort of use them to make your opponents change how they're gonna fight. It makes a complete difference. When you watch my film in a minute, when Daz does a little VOD review, don't ask about my fences. Listen, something. My controller was broken and my fences weren't working right.
I got it. These are fantastic tips, Ross. I'm excited. Let's get into the gameplay now. Thank you so much for giving your tips, man.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's get into it. All right, everybody. In this section, we're going to be reviewing Ross's gameplay. This man does not know how to fence. This Wattson really sucks. Now, he's actually really great. He's fantastic. We're going to learn about the moments where he could fence, when he couldn't fence. I'm also a Wattson main myself, so I'm sorry, Ross, if I give any harsh criticism or anything. Ross is an actual beast. He's one of the best controller Wattsons that I know personally. I know the others, there's a lot of other controller Wattsons out there, but Ross really is one of the most knowledgeable. He has a lot of time in Wattson. He's got more eliminations on Wattson, but then again, kills aren't everything. I think one of the benefits of Wattson is definitely fighting off drop. Fighting off drop, because you have a small hitbox, is always really, really important, very key. Very strong entry when it comes to Wattson because of small hitbox. Also controlling space And notice this perk, he went for the revive here as well, just to kind of sweat. The reason why Wattson is also really beneficial off drop, not only her hitbox signs, but being able to control space is also really important. You'll notice here as well that Ross is very quick on getting armor swaps, which is really, really important, but also engaging. Wattson can also be an entry fragger because of her hitbox size. She's really, really strong, not only just for anchor, but also securing space and moving forward. You'll notice that technically Wattson out of this composition from Lifeline and Mirage is the entry here. And we will pause it whenever necessary to kind of give comms. But right now we're going to kind of let it go just because he's kind of really in his groove and moving around and making a lot of plays. You'll notice yet that he still has yet to use fences. There's one thing I call out Ronce a lot is using fences. We always have to remind ourselves as Wattson to always use fences. Even you watching this video, you can always use your fences more and be smarter about it, but it's always very, very difficult to do so. Let's take a look here. What?
What?
I had the same reaction, Ross. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what happened here. They put it down and just ran. Oh, there's the res over on the far left. There they go. What a bait. That's the bait of a century.
You gotta give them like a little bit of credit, low key.
I would too. I'm not gonna lie, Russ. That was crazy. So the arc started to give yourself an entry. Let's skip ahead a little bit. So of course they're gonna run away and try to reposition. They did get the res here, but look at this entry Wattson. Very, very powerful. Could have gotten hit there. But luckily, because of hitbox size, it definitely adds a little bit of benefit here compared to some other legends. But also notice that he's using space to keep his hitbox small. So right now, his hitbox is large, but he's keeping it small by moving in. And I'm going to pause right here in this moment, okay? Once he moves up to the right spot. Right here, he's still keeping his hitbox small relative to his opponent because he's staying in this area, but also he's able to ensure that he's not getting blasted by his teammates or the opponent's teammates, if you will. So that's also important. So it may seem like the shove is without thought process, but there is always a thought, and it's usually done by fundamentals. And those are the fundamentals. And look at the fundamentals of him shooting the box. Toxic. Toxic, bro. How dare you? So you went for the larger generator here. So based on the perks, you went for the revive and the bigger gen, which is interesting because I'm going to go to point out a contradiction from Ross here, what he pointed out, okay? Let's go to pause. If you look in the bottom left, he's got a lifeline and Mirage. Everyone can res, and yet he still decided to go for the HP res, despite him saying that the arc stars are more fun. I'm just pointing that out because this one tip that he said earlier, maybe just all of us Wattsons contradict ourselves because I'm also a walking contradiction. So let's skip ahead. As he moved in, he does locate where other opponents are located. So let's talk about that here. As a roller, he can faceplant a little bit more, but of course he's backing out for a little bit more information, just to ensure that he does not get pushed. Probably gonna take height here. Let's take a look at what he does. There's the height. Always height is going to be your best advantage in any encounter, just so you can scout things out and know the lay of the land and what's going on. So you're not just face planting something you don't know, because you don't know if all three of them are going to be there or what's going to happen. Now, once you get your damage, this is where you move in.
Are they looking up? They're not. They don't know about me.
Yeah, I don't really think they're looking up for some reason. Keep in mind that he's keeping his hitbox small by kind of chilling here. Oh man, and that's a little bit of damage there. So you can kind of move up on this, find an opening. A little rough, but there he goes for the one right here. Hopefully he can clean it up, and then he resets. And the fence, let's talk about this fence here. That's actually really smart. I love this fence. It's fast. Once he gets it, boom. Let's go ahead and pause right there. It's on the right here, but this fence does provide, even if it's not perfect, you'll learn to perfect your fences over time, but even Wattson players who spent thousands of hours on Wattson, we can always do better, okay? So the fence here is buying himself a little bit of time if somebody decides to push, but also something he can work around, okay? That's really, really important. I know it's a little hard to see because it's on the right, but look, there you go. That's a better placement right here. It buys himself a few seconds to heal and to reset. Very, very important. There's an extra one that he can use to kind of get it there as my voice cracks, but it's all good. And that fence, look at that. Beautiful fence. That's what I'm talking about, Ross.
Hey, it's one left, killer.
They got this. It's 2v1. They should get this. And they should be able to res too. They got the lifeline. But that fence was fantastic. Bit of an overpeak there, but the fence was really, really clean, and his HP was low, so he could have gone for the reset instead of going a little bit too aggro on it. The fence was really, really strong and goes for the cleanup here, and really nice. So solid fencing. Can always do more fences, and that's the hard part, is that you only have 4. When do you use them in the encounter? It's good for putting pressure. This is what we're talking about, the offensive pressure when it comes to Wattson. And it's always really fun to watch whenever you're looking at this microplay when playing Wattson, especially at a higher tier level. It makes me want to play Wattson more. Hopefully you watching this video, you see that thought process, and it makes you, it's one of the best plays you can make in the game, in my opinion. Let's go and skip ahead to the next encounter. Now, one thing you'll always have a hard time with is traversing land as Wattson. You can't be afraid of being in a bad position because you always have your gen to stop grenades, to stop Gibraltar ults or Bangler ults or things of the nature. So kind of traverse and know where you're going to reset to. Now, when I say reset of where your fallback plan is going to be, are you going to fall back to the right? Are you going to fall back to the left? Are you going to fall back here and put gen on the truck? There's a lot of things that you can do here. Now, you don't want to put your gen down immediately when you don't need to yet. It's always whenever you need to anchor and whenever you need to hold for a little bit more time. Right now, Ross doesn't need to hold for a little bit of time, and there's no need for fences because he is on the oppressive stance right now. He's going to let that other person go. The hard part about Wattson as well is you can't chase anything. It is very hard to chase things down because everyone's faster than you. Everybody can get away. Everyone can run away from you. And if you chase, most of the time they're going to be able to turn and burn. Octane's hard to chase. Even Newcastle using the ult to reposition is also hard to chase. So you got to be very selective of whenever you chase and whenever you don't. And this looks like a whole different team there. And looks nice, very squad wipe there. Looks like he managed a third party just in time. So 12 kills in for Ross. Fantastic play so far. Didn't need to use a gen. Didn't need to use offenses quite yet. But at this point, let's say he got thirded, then he would put down a gen. So let's go and segue to the next fight. So using things on the map to really get you around is always so going to be very key, such as the gravity cannons and everything. Those are going to be very important. Using movement whenever you can is also very key. Just catch somebody out here. Working on your close range is really, really important as a Wattson, because if you shoot from too far away and you can't traverse fast enough to get into the encounter, it makes it hard for Wattson to really capitalize on damage unless you're running a sniper and you're landing every single one of your shots. So keep that in mind when you're running as a Wattson, what your loadout is and how good you are at close range encounters. It's one of those things that I've always suffered with as an MNK versus controller, but also the benefit of controller. There's a plus side of MNK on Wattson is that you can fence more efficiently, but you lose that close range power. But if you're on controller, it's harder to fence. It can be difficult to find that balance as Wattson because you want to be great at everything, but because of that, you're always going to feel like you're in a pitfall as Wattson. So if you're watching this, you're not alone in that regard. All right, so Ross is moving into this next encounter. He saw shots over here. So he's working his way in. You can't be afraid to just run in. I know it seems crazy as Wattson to run in, but you can always use fences as a fallback, okay? You can always use movement. You can always reposition and maximize on your hitbox size. That's the whole point of your kit and your utility, to slow down fights, to slow down encounters. I think this is a rat. Nice. So maybe it's not. That's crazy. Using the finisher to get that reset there. And there's no need for fences. Remember, you only have 4. So when they're utilized is very specific. And those are whenever the clips do come in as a Wattson, but you just don't fence for the sake of fencing. When you're playing pubs, you're not really going to anchor. You're not really going to go, let's fence up a building per se, because you're not going to hold up there, because then you use the opportunity to use those fences offensively. Where if you're Wattson, being paired with another legend that has mobility is really important. You'll see there, having Wattson to be mobile is key, especially if Wattson's able to secure space and move for you. Did you juke him? Where'd this Loba go? There. Oh, very nice. Right before they got away. Unfortunate for the Loba. I know this is difficult and a hard pill to swallow, where it's like, okay, where can I always fence? Because it's not like you can fence there. It's not like you can fence in front of that individual. So where can you fence? You can do preemptive fences here as an example. It's going to pause it. You can put a preemptive fence here to gate a little bit, but at the same time, you lose that momentum forward. So you got to pick and choose, right? Had to do a little quick pause there just so everyone kind of knew. That person was, I think they gave up. All right, I think he does catch one out here on the left. There they go. I got to watch a little bit of the VOD beforehand. That combination with Wattson is just, it's so nasty. R99. And the hard part is that, you know, you lose that range pressure. So you got to pick and choose of when you have that pressure, when you don't. Oh, come on, Ross.
It's one left.
Hopefully they come in and get it.
He's running right here.
They got it.
You faked it.
Oh, they went for the revive. That's crazy. They should have that. That's pretty easy at that point.
Hold your knock for me.
Nice. He's going to clean it up. Easy. GG's. Oh, wow. Actually could have gotten even more kills in this VOD. Oh, they robbed him of that. That's crazy. That revive gives the lifeline a little more HP, and there's a reset there. Now, the reason for the reset at this point is that he needs more HP. He needs to get his teammates healthy, and honestly, towards the end game, when else are you going to use it? Hopefully he's got an ult excel. I don't think he does, but at the same time, it's like, where else are you going to use the gen, right? Maybe whenever you push, you may have it, but it's mostly to reset for your teammates whenever you need it, especially for pubs. Now, it can be play smarter, but in that moment, you're just kind of looking for the quick reset in case you get grenaded, and you're looking to reset for your teammate as fast as possible. So don't be shy if you're trying to reset for your teammate to have it down for them, because you never know if somebody's going to Gibraltar ult, Bangalore ult, and kind of be preemptive or reactive. It's kind of up to you. but it's not a bad thing to kind of place it down, especially because he hasn't even used it at all so far. So at least it can be beneficial in some way, shape, or form. Let's go and skip ahead because it looks like these teams might be outside of zone. Let's go and take a look. So the benefit here is that we're looking at his ult is still at 64%. So it might be up in time for the last encounter, but I highly doubt he's going to need it at this point. Oh, I think the rats, unfortunately, at the end here. Hopefully hopefully they don't take his kill. Oh no, they took his kill. Why would they do that? Why would you do that to my man Ross? That's crazy. Everyone's, oh yeah, I was about to say, why is everyone playing Loba? It's because Loba just got unlocked, so that makes sense. Oh, ultimate disappeared. Let's see if they're going to be able to find him here. He almost says Jen again. I don't think he's going to need it. I don't even think, she's not even trying. Guys, hopefully you found this a little educational. At least we had a moment with fences. You see the aggression that he's talking about, but it doesn't always happen in that favor at the same time too. It doesn't always happen that you're able to use every single fence. I get after Ross about reminding to use fences, to get a little more fence play and think outside the box. I encourage you guys to do the same thing despite always having high kill games. And that's the beauty of Wattson, is that you're able to say, hey, I can always do more. I think that's probably the most addicting thing about playing Legend, is that there's always better plays that you can make and smarter plays to really bait. And sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.